Hi there. For a while now, I want to incorporate dovetails to my projects, but my abilities and my skills with hand tools are not what they are supposed to be. So I started to look at jigs to do this on the table saw, and I found Tamar's channel where she makes a jig for her table saw. She has a job site table saw, and I tried to do this for my big saw, my big table saw, and it didn't work. I'm gonna leave a link for her channel. She does some amazing stuff, and she makes it very simple. So check her channel out. It's very good. So on my big table saw with the sliding table, it didn't work because these types of table saws are made for you to be away from the saw blade. And for this kind of detail work, and normally you working on small pieces, you need to be kind of close, or at least able to see with precision, so you can position the piece in the right spot. So I'm gonna make it I have a small table saw, and I'm gonna make these two jigs for my small table saw. So the idea is, one has an angle piece here and against the fence where you make the tails, and the other one, the face, the fence is angled so you can make the pins. So I'm gonna make this for the small table saw, and it should work better. So the idea is to use MDF with melamine, that I have a lot of scraps here from old projects, and white MDF with the melamine because it slides better. The melamine is quite smooth and it's gonna slide better. If it doesn't, you just need to use some handle wax or surfboard wax, and it's gonna make it slide better. But you may ask, why surfboard wax? Don't surfers use this so they don't slip off the board? This kind of wax, when it's wet, it grips. When it's dry, it slips. So it works, trust me. Just take a regular white candle, scratch, just put it on the bottom piece, it works fine. If you don't have any scraps of MDF with melamine, that's not a problem. You can look for some woodworkers around you that might have some scraps that they is probably on their way in their shops, or you can use plywood. If you use plywood, you might need a little bit more of candle wax so it can slide better, but it's gonna slide either way. To make the pieces that are gonna give the angle for the dovetails, I'm gonna use the speed square that has all the angles from 90 to 0, and an angle, I don't know the name. Give me some help here with this. But you just adjust it to 90 degrees and find the angle that you want. I'm gonna use 8 degrees. So just have to find 8 degrees and lock it, and then set the fence of my table saw so it matches this angle. And then I'm gonna cut 2 pieces and glue them together. I've got 2 pieces of MDF at the 8-degree angle, and it doesn't have the melamine on one of the sides, so it can be glued up using regular glue. Otherwise, I would have to use a contact adhesive. So I'm gonna glue them together, so if I need to work on thicker pieces, I have enough area here so they can be supported. Just a little bit of sawdust, just apply here so they don't slip as much when you clamp them. So a wet rag to clean out all the squeeze out, so it makes it easier on you later. And just wait with this glue about 30-40 minutes clamped, then we can work on it. So while the glue dries, I can make the blades for the sled. Since these blades have to be very thin, very narrow, I need 16 millimeters by 6 millimeters, like 16 wide and 6 thick. They are too small to cut safely on the table saw. So I have this little board that I made a while ago of scraps. I was gonna do something, and for whatever reason I didn't do anything. Something came up or whatever, and this is much more safe to do, and my fingers are thankful to do this. I'm gonna cut this 16 wide, that's about 5/8, a little bit more than 5/8, and by 6, that's a little bit less than a quarter inch. I'm gonna cut the 16 on the table saw and then adjust the thickness on the planer, and this is much safer. Very thin strips, very complicated to do this on the table saw. So the whole idea to use scraps, it would be better if you could use those thin straps, the scraps that are always available in your shop. But I don't feel safe using doing that because it can get caught up in the blade and kick back. So or pull my hand into the saw and it's gonna be a mess. So I'm gonna use this. These are already scraps. I glued them together, but this is much safer and much easier to work with. So the 4 blades are here. Now just go to the planer and set it to 6 millimeters. Here are the 4 blades. Now it's just attach them to the base of the sled. While the glue still dries, I'm gonna attach the blades to the bottom of the sled using super glue at first. So I'm gonna glue it to the bottom of the sled and position it square to the saw blade. And then after this, I'm gonna attach it permanently with 2 screws on each blade. The super glue is only for a little while. With the use, it's gonna come off. So it's just to make sure it's in place and then attach it with 2 screws on each side. So this is very simple. You just place the base on top of the blades. Just mark it. It doesn't have to be very precise, so you don't put glue where you don't need it. So now you just apply the glue. You just apply the glue on the blades. Be careful not to put too much, otherwise it will glue to the table. And quickly set the base on top of it, and using your square, make sure it's where you need it. Place it where you want it. It's squared. Just put 2 clamps just to wait the glue to work. Check it again. Just wait few seconds and it's gonna be in place. And then you have to attach 2 screws on the bottom. So this is done. Now I have to put 2 screws in here. Don't forget to countersink the holes, otherwise the screw head is gonna scrape the table saw. So you need 2 short screws, otherwise it's gonna come out on the top here. So now we're gonna attach it the two blades to the sled base with screws. I'm gonna use screws that are 4 millimeters in diameter and 16 millimeters long. That's about 5/8 because this is pretty thin and I don't want them to come out, and we don't need very long screws. So you gotta mark it as close to the center as possible, but the placement, it's not very, it doesn't have to be very precise. So this base is 500 millimeters by 210 millimeters. This is defined by my table saw. This is the width of the table, and 210 millimeters are enough so that the whole sled is before the blade and it's well balanced on the table. And this is something that you have to adapt to your reality, to your machine. So you need to check this, watch what's better for you. So now I'm gonna mark it 50 millimeters from the edge and 160 on both sides. And then since the blades are 16 millimeters, 8 millimeters, and I like to use calipers because it's easy to repeat the measurements. And I'm sure that they are all the same. Then punch the places that you're gonna make the holes so the drill bit don't slip out. And I'm gonna use a drill bit that has the countersink on it. If you don't have it, you can use the thinner, any drill bit that you're gonna use to make the pilot hole. And then you get a drill bit that's larger than the screw head, so you can do the countersink. That's a easy way to do it. When you drive the screw, be careful at the end. Come very slowly because otherwise it can split the blade. Now it's just finishing the assembly. Now it's time to assemble both sleds. So I'm gonna use the piece that's gonna make the tails as a positioner for the fence of the pins. If the angle, for whatever reason, is not very precise, it's not a problem. It's 8.1 degrees or 7.9 degrees. It doesn't matter because you're gonna use this to position the fence. One other thing I'm gonna add is a block of scrap wood in the back, right where the blade's gonna go through, for two reasons. First, as a reminder that the blade's gonna go through there, so my fingers won't be in the way. Second, it's gonna work as a square. I'm gonna attach it to the base and to the fence. So this is completely square, and this is necessary because you're gonna run your pieces in this manner. So square is important. And another thing, I'm gonna add a reinforcement to the front of the sled because the blade is gonna go through all the way from front to back of the base, and so we don't have a problem later of the sled going this way. So I'm gonna add a reinforcement to the front. My blade goes only 75 millimeters up. That's the maximum height. That's about 3 inches. And minus the 15 millimeters that I have on the base, I have the maximum cut height of 60. This piece is 90 millimeters, so I still have 30 millimeters as a reinforcement on the top of the cut. So first thing, mark 20 millimeters from the back of the sled so I can position and lock it with clamps, and then I can position the fence. So I was gonna do the holes so I can screw from the bottom up, and the the drill got into this piece because it's too close, and the drill bit is not long enough. So I'm gonna have to dismantle this and drive the hole and then put it all together so I can assemble. Sometimes it happens. So after all this clamp gymnastics, the fence is in place. So I'll just need to attach the safety block and the reinforcement in the front, and then this sled is done. To assemble the tails jig, first I screwed the angle piece to the fence and then screwed both of them to the base from below. It's necessary to screw both the fence and the angle piece to the base so they keep square to the base. It's important to check if everything is square, otherwise you're gonna have problems when you're using the jig later. Make sure you countersink all the holes, otherwise you're gonna have problems when using the jig with the screw heads scraping the top of the table saw. You have to remember to use a shorter screw on the lower part of the angle piece. This prevents it from going through the top of the angle piece. After securing the fence, just attach the reinforcement to the front of the jig and then you're done. After finishing assembly of both jigs, you have to make the first cut on the table saw you're gonna use. As you can see here, the jig runs very well on the table saw. This is after applying the wax on the bottom of it. Apply as much as needed.
So this is it for now. On the next video, I'm gonna make something using these two sleds. So if you enjoyed it, give that thumbs up, subscribe, activate the bell for notifications. See you next time.